You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip, 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 Drip.
We're back. White Noise Year 2, Episode 8. I had to make sure because one episode isn't out yet. So that's the problem with pre-recording and then episodes not being out yet. You get it's like you get lost in your own chronology. We're almost like the MCU or any other long-standing franchise where you forget what you've done. Time has passed. How is this girl now 16-ish? If she was only 5 years and she was maybe 10 or 9?
That's some time jumps, man. The blip.
Again, I was watching from Far From Home, and I'm like, he's 16, but in No Way Home, they're like going to MIT. I guess you would have to enroll early for MIT, but still that early?
Drip, when I was watching Far From Home, and I was glad that they put that wasn't where they put something in there about the blip.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there,
that's the first one that explains it after Endgame, of like it was.
I'm in the Spanish theater. And that's when I'm having so what do you do if you're in a plane?
And not that theory again. So if you're the pilot and you get blipped, don't go.
I'm like, what did those people, were they just safely in their home or
don't forget, like they show the marching band's playing, and then when they re-blip, like they interfere in a basketball game or whatever it is.
But
what doesn't make sense, like in the blip, like Happy says like he grew a beard in the blip, but like how would that make sense? Because like again, like everyone came back the same, no one aged. If like
I don't know, man.
Again, we're gonna get to Michelle Pfeiffer aging while being in the quantum realm, and that doesn't make sense compared to what Scott said.
It's funny, but after a while, you start thinking about it, and the shit don't make no damn sense.
Well, this is why. Again, this is White Noise. I am your host, Drip. As always, I'm joined by co-host producer Khal, founder of Black Wrestling. This week, we're going to be talking about Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, KangMania. Because Jonathan Majors did the thing, as Ariana DeBose would say.
Yeah, you got to salute. You got to salute the God. You really got it. It's like one time. Actually, as a matter of fact, one time, round of applause for the God Jonathan Majors, for real. Turn that up. Like this man, he said, "I'm gonna destroy all the white people. I'm gonna kill myself." Actually, before getting into that, I should say
it might be Majors Mania, because like I said, we'll be talking about him in Creed 3 next week, so maybe it's Majors Mania.
That's a good point.
Or Majors month here on White Noise.
No, I like we're in Mania season, so I think it's going to be everything Mania. It's going to be Danielson Mania in about another day or two. But we should just spoiler alert for the rest of the episode. Like I don't think there's any way, if you haven't watched the film yet, you should probably pause this. Put in your watch later on YouTube, or on if you're on Patreon, just pause it and come back to it later, because we're gonna have to talk about this film in depth to really explain what Drip hates about it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There are things I do hate about it, but I don't hate the entirety of it like most people do. Is the thing.
That's good,
and I think that was the kind of consensus response after for a majority of people on at least my timeline. I don't know about yours, who are like, this is bad. The MCU continues to sputter, and they're hanging on the cliff now compared to like before. They would just always like find a way to get off it.
Is 48% too harsh?
I think it is, but I can see why. I wouldn't say it needs to be like in the 70s or 80s. It's about a 60s.
I was going to say, so you literally split the difference and go 60, 65.
Yeah, I on Letterboxd I put this at a 3.5 because the Majors performance alone is phenomenal. There are two really good sequences in the film. Like we'll get into it.
Okay.
A little bit later, and again, I'm a big Paul Rudd guy. I've always loved Paul Rudd since I first saw him.
Am I giving that film? I'm gonna have to give that film like a 68. But any points that I'm adding are it did have MODOK in it, but any points I'm adding are because of what we're calling it, Majors Mania. Like there's no way
we're
doing anything but repping the god Kang. But no, I like to hear that you liked it a little bit more because the concept has also been like if you watch the Patreon, we were having this conversation already, but if you haven't, the conversation has really been about how people have kind of they're dubbing it superhero fatigue. People have just been very tired of it because of how dense phase 4 of the MCU was, specifically with everything coming out on Disney Plus and stuff. So this film is in a weird position because it's literally the start. It's the start of this phase. You had to, especially for the people that didn't get through the end of Loki in phase 4, you had to reestablish and properly introduce Kang the Conqueror as a character. And then you still had the kind of
characters,
the many variants of Kang the Conqueror, but you then had to put that in a framework of this is still an Ant-Man and the Wasp film where we're entering the quantum realm, deeper than we ever been before. Pause. And we also have to make sure that because this is the start of the next couple of years of Marvel films, so you have to you have to tease out what season 2 of Loki may look like. You have to tease out what the future of what these Kangs are doing in the Thanos role behind the scenes while all these other properties are coming out. So for the film to be a D or an F in some people's eyes, it sounds like a detriment, but A, it still killed at the box office, and B,
exactly,
and B, you can't. The one thing that I'm seeing is even if you hate it, you kind of have to go see it. People need to get out and do shit, and if you want to be in on what's going to be happening in the next couple of years in the MCU, it should be more scaled back than it's been previously. You kind of have to eat this. You got to go through the shitty. You got to have the salad. You got to eat the Brussels. And I don't want to be that guy where like you need to digest terrible cinema or whatever. But like if you want to stay abrupt with what's going or stay abreast with what's going on with Marvel right now, at some point you got to watch this, unless you're going on YouTube and watching some poorly edited, takeaways from it. You're not going to get it. You can get some Cleveland notes. I could give you Cleveland notes on the movie if you want, but it's not the same as seeing it, especially coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, and as we talked about, like everyone was already going to see it regardless because Jonathan Majors, rising star from Last Black Man in San Francisco, which I haven't seen, but everyone's just like that's what put him on the map.
That's a good one. I highly recommend that.
Spike Lee's The Five Bloods, where he's phenomenal in it.
Another great
star of an HBO series before it got canceled prematurely, maybe in terms of Lovecraft Country.
Facts.
Which at that time that was premiering, he was announced as being Kang the Conqueror and Ant-Man Quantumania is what they were going to call it. It's like he'll be the villain. And I remember talking to you at the time, like, are you, because you had just talked to him briefly, and you're like, this wasn't mentioned, but there was something like he couldn't talk about. He was saying that was about to break. And then he had like the whole GQ profile, like, it's an interesting thing, fame. And he's later announced to be in Creed 3 as the main antagonist. And
he has cups.
He has he's the star on the rise. So I think not that the fact that this movie is also just being released in February, Black History Month, the whole like our Kang is conquering, Scott Lang is going to be putting a pack, all that talk that you can see on the timeline. But like largely, I mean, as much as I love Paul Rudd, Ant-Man to some people might not be worth going out and seeing or necessarily caring about. That first one is great, but that I think there was a huge Edgar Wright blueprint that they followed.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp itself in 2018, I rewatched the other day, and it's largely like, this is kind of forgettable. There's some good stuff in it, but like we didn't need this as much.
Ant-Man
but that
and the Wasp was kind of a dud as well. But it wasn't. It was just like the first film. They got in and out, but it was not. They were two totally different films.
But the first one like sets up like this is a fun, interesting character to introduce for future installments. How's this guy going to play a role? And like his own mission was interesting and like had some comedy, some action, some drama to it. It worked. That first Ant-Man movie worked. Ant-Man and the Wasp is like it's post him in Civil War, his involvement in the battle at the airport and all that, and like it's pre the blip. So like we've already seen the blip happen in Infinity War. So like everything and that's that thing we'll get to with like the low stakes, or does anything really matter? Because this movie starts with them going into the quantum realm and almost ends with them stuck. But but like obviously they get out, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes too. About like people were like they should have just stayed in the quantum realm, stuck there forever. I'm like, when they have the actual device to get them out, why would they stay stuck there? Like that doesn't make sense in that argument.
But because you knew how they got there, it was only a matter of time for them out.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, and people were pissed. Like the movie should just ended with Scott and Hope stuck in the quantum realm. One like why?
Silly.
I'm like, why they have the device to get them back out? And there was like a whole thing where like they reshot the ending with all the Matt Cassie's birthday dinner because he missed a lot of birthdays when he was away a few months ago, probably because they tested that ending of like Scott and Lang just saying I love you as they were stuck in the quantum realm, and they probably didn't test one. I'm like, yeah, because everyone's like, why can't they just go back? The device is sent back with them. Like that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense. Or like you wouldn't even have to wait till like the next the Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, because they didn't do the Ant-Man and the Wasp will return. They did Kang will return. That was the whole appeal. And that was the thing, is like the Ant-Man and the Wasp are going to be secondary in the film no matter what, because they are introducing, like you said, the next Thanos, who is going to dominate movies and TV. Because again, the real post-credit scene is Jonathan Majors in like the 1800s or maybe like the early 1900s.
I believe in the comics the time frame was 1901. I'm assuming it was Jan 1, 1901 is the date that Timely, I think the name of the town is called, which is a reference to Timely Comics, the name of the publisher that became Marvel Comics. But yeah, the in the comics. All right, so we're jumping so far ahead, but
that's what this movie does, though. Like
in fact, time is not what you think it is. You know what I mean? In the comics,
it's not what you think it is. Like just his. We'll get to like his acting on its own, but like that's his.
He makes some choices, man. He makes some choices.
No, when he'll do like when he's like, Scott, what you don't understand is like he'll do like the blinking of like give it to me, and at the end he goes like full Eric Bana in Star Trek, where he just goes like fire at them,
right?
Like, he'll just like shut, and I'm like, yes, that is it, man. Like
he's one of those actors who, again, if you hadn't seen him in
anything really.
But if you hadn't seen him in like Last Black Man in San Francisco and then seen him in like The Harder They Fall, you wouldn't know that he could.
I'm like he had one of the, and that movie.
I was just looking at it this morning, trying to see
the badass fucking gunman in that movie, like gunman in that movie. That's thing, but like because I love the scene so much in The Five Bloods. Like he has this distant relationship with Delroy Lindo, but like when he's on the mine and just starts breaking down, crying because he thinks he's gonna die, and Delroy Lindo's like, just hold on. And they have like, who went to the house? The Moore house, and when they pull him off, like that whole scene is probably like he just breaks down and cries. As they like try to wrap the rope around him to like pull him off in time.
I will say, sidebar, Spike Lee movies, because Spike Lee's very good at coming up with ideas. He's like Stanley Kubrick in a way. They come up with these ideas. They're trying to, like, the art for them is pulling all of these ideas together to make the film that makes a statement that they want to make about the time that's going on right now. Like that's the Cleveland notes on Spike Lee's art, Stanley Kubrick's art. How they approach it are two different things, but that's the log line for what they do. But because of that, they're very good at picking actors. If you look at that cast of the Five Bloods, not even like actors who you see all the time, but you've seen them in things, they're dope. Spike's seeing all that stuff too, and at some point he's like, yeah, he would be good for this, he would be good for this, he would be good for that. He puts them in, I think in that film it was like Vietnam, or he put them in Vietnam and they just act. But the key is they kind of figure it out. And when I saw that film, knowing that Jonathan Majors can act, I feel like that was probably was that the G1 for him? I'm not sure, but he was able to, the way he could bounce back and forth with a Delroy Lindo, who I felt should have been on the getting all the awards for his performance in that film. That showed me that he's ready for now. But the way he's able to play all of those different variants at the with the because that at let's talk about the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
There's one scene where you get to see 3 different Kangs discuss what happened to Kang the Conqueror in Quantumania. Because they're going, if you've seen Star Wars, like they have those high council meetings or whatever they're called. It was like that. It's called the Council of Kangs, but instead of it being like his family or whatever, it's literally every Kang in the multiverse kind of meeting to decide what to do, what kind of fuck shit they want to do to the rest of the multiverse with everything that's going on.
I think one's
right
supposed
now.
to be Emotus, right? Or like...
yeah, one of them is Ramatut, who's kind of like a pharaoh.
Yeah.
And
there's one other one is almost like a cybernetic.
Yeah, but I think that
one.
It's I forget its name, but in the comics, it's not like a cybernetic. So a lot of these, even the creation of MODOK's very interesting in this iteration of the MCU in the film. But they're 3, I guess, of like the higher ranking Kangs, and they're
definitely like the ones at the top. Yeah,
right. They're the ones making the decisions for all the Kangs and the rest of the multiverse, and they're the ones that I guess saw whatever the Exiled one was doing, and they banished him. That's how he made it to the quantum realm. Was for whatever, I probably just seeing all the time, seeing how it ends. He kept talking about maybe he did too much because he was killing motherfuckers too, right? He was going through time.
That's why this one I think is accurately called the Conqueror.
Right.
Like the one in Loki was the one who remains. This one is legit Kang, the Conqueror, and all these other ones again are Ramatut, like I said, I think, and Modus, and then whatever other versions of Kangs call themselves, because there's like the one, like the final one that goes because they're all going fucking, they're hyped,
they're barking and shit. They're going.
One's almost like a creature too. Like it's weird, like
it's really some of it's really animalistic. But I think
but if you put up the image of Jet Li's The One, if you've ever seen this bad sci-fi cool action movie that Jet Li starred in with Delroy Lindo, funny enough, it's about the multiverse, funny enough, and Delroy Lindo and Jason Statham basically play the TVA. Like they are sent to stop a variant of Jet Li that is going around killing all his variants in these universes, so he can become the One,
right?
And he thinks that will like gain like
all the power,
all this power somehow, which is true. Like he's stronger than One. He's faster. Like he has all these powers, and they show like photos of Jet Li in bad wigs and clothes to be like, this is the one from this universe. This is the one from this universe. And they're like he has like a Swedish blonde wig. He has one Rastaman wig.
That makes sense.
It's basically this. And like at the end, I was like, which one of these Kangs will be the One? And I still think, someone had a tweet the other day. So like that, the Conqueror Kang isn't dead, and I'm like, yeah, I would believe it. Like he just gets sucked back into the vortex, his own device.
He just gets sucked to, like, you don't know what right now.
So there is a good chance that he could still be the most dominant one, given how he was the one going from universe to universe, planet to planet, conquering. And again, maybe that's why they exiled him, because he was too strong against the likes of all of them. But again, his own ego is probably what, like most got in his way.
No, I'm assuming he's stuck in that device, whatever the shit was called, the flux capacitor. But
let's start with like his introduction, because it starts out like it's super dark, like literally like it's dark in the quantum realm, like, and Janet like sees something like crash land, and she's about to get killed like by the quantum realm creatures, and like he saves her, and then he's like, what is this place? And you're like, oh shit, like how does it go wrong from here? And then when she tells the story to them, like what went wrong, like it's like they bonded with each other over like missing their families and all that. He talked about like he was just trying to he was an explorer, but he was lying, like he was and then once she touches the ship, and as I like again, his acting in that scene is phenomenal. Like, what did you see? Then she gets like petrified, because again, like he is like shooting laser beams at people, and just ripping multiverses apart. Yeah, and that the whole time he's doing the great thing, like, all the time, not the bad guy. I'm just doing what needed to be done. Like I was creating order where there wasn't any because they're too scared to interfere. They just want to. He's like these other kings. They just want to sit and judge and watch. Me, I'll do something. I'll go and fix it. Again, very Thanos-esque. Like the worlds are gonna die unless someone eradicates half of them. Like,
well, wait. You mentioned the world. So is the thought that because what he's doing, this machine,
his time chair.
His time chair is connected to him, and he can go throughout time wherever he wants. So he's murdering Kangs through time.
I don't think we got through that part of it. Did they say he was murdering himself?
Well, let's see.
I think it's led to maybe read between the lines of that. I don't think there was.
It may not have been
worlds to fix timelines that were broken, and because again, as like the TVA, which are like times like this, not straight line like you think. It sprouts and spreads all over the place. Like I think he was trying to cut off like dead loose ends that weren't going to grow any further.
Immortus was the one. He was exiled by the council due to his dangerous nature. Oh, he killed Avengers. He definitely said he killed
that
Avengers.
Too, which he had said like, which one are you? Like, you're not the one with the hammer. Like
he did. I never seen you before. Have I killed you? Some of those variants were tearing the multiverse apart through supreme conquest. Yeah, so I guess he was fucking around in the multiverse and killing Avengers and shit. So that's why he got exiled. Now, my question is, because the other thing that we know that whatever Kang has been doing is fucking with the multiverse. Aside from No Way Home, with the Wish and Doctor Strange and everything that they did with Spider-Man, what we saw in that was an incursion. Another world trying to collide with, or two worlds trying to collide with each other. Do we think that Kang and what he's been doing is what's causing the incursions?
I think his idea is to stop incursions, right?
His idea is to stop it, but I'm wondering if he's trying to stop something that he started.
Yeah, that's always the thing with time travel in general, right? Which is why I always hate when, like, even though I have one episode left to go, but in Miss Marvel, the penultimate episode, she realizes she is the one who started it all.
Right.
It's one of those where, like, even though you're not existing yet in that world, by you time traveling with the powers you have now, it creates your life for you. It's that whole thing. It's a Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban does the same thing where like he ends up seeing. Well, no, in a way, somewhat, yeah. No, in a way, because don't forget, like when he fights the guy in the SWAT gear, like he thinks he's being attacked, but then once you see it as he goes through the turnstile again, he is the guy in the SWAT gear trying not to kill him. It's something where you are creating your own future and your own past. Yeah.
At the point where they were, we're spoiling Tenet. I don't care.
No.
A word and a gesture. No, but I've spent so many times just listening to people talk about Tenet on YouTube. At the point towards the end where they're
Banks and I would be like, "What's up with Tenet? I don't get it." But like,
I low key love the lore of the film for whatever reason. I'm fucking nut like that. When they break up the algorithm, they're like, "Yeah, we got to go our separate ways."
Yeah, and Robert Pattinson's like, we met. You hire me. Like,
no, but wait, check what, because he's like shit. I forgot. I got to go back and do something. Yeah. He has to go back and fucking set up how he dies or whatever, so the loop can continue. Like but people like that's the shit with time that I don't think like people think about. It's like there are stories where it's not about where you're at in the story; it's when you're at in the story. Like for Robert Pattinson's character, he's already been a child and grown up and he's traveling back in time to help out situations for him to live the future that he traveled from. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the Kang situation, because that's where I was getting at with the Victor Timely stuff. So the idea with Timely is a town in Wisconsin where a set in the comics, Victor Timely, who's a variant of Kang, built the time travel whatever that would essentially become this.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought is that season 2 of Loki would be Loki and Mobius or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Going, they've obviously seen Victor Timely and they're back in the time. Are they trying to take out the? It's going to be interesting.
That's Loki's thing. He's like, oh no, it's this guy, and then Mobius like, he doesn't seem that. And Mobius like, he doesn't seem that bad, and he's like, no, you have no idea. But then he has to realize like, oh, this is another version. But Loki probably has the mindset like, if one's bad, they're all bad. Even though he wasn't even the one that kickstarted it, was Sylvie by killing the one who remains. Because what he says like, if you think I'm bad, wait until you meet my variants. Like, so maybe Victor Timely is a way for them to stop all this from happening.
Yeah.
Maybe they use him in like an Oppenheimer way of like, that's a trade. Like to in order to stop the bomb, we need you to build the bomb. Like,
wait, hold up. I'm sorry. I got to pause for the cause. Every time that I hear something online about AMC theaters, I always have to tweet AMC theaters about the fact that the big 24 screen with the IMAX is dead. I got my seats to see Quantumania. They throw you in what theater, whatever time it's playing at that time, because it's all assigned seats. So I picked the seat in the row in the back as close to the middle as I can. So me and my son were cool. The theater that I was in, there was a speaker like right above my seat, and it wasn't like a bass speaker. It was like it had bass in it. Actually, I don't know if it's like a fake Dolby. It was a low end, and it had like a little bit of a high end. During this shitty, and I don't know if it was the sound or not, but during this shitty, I don't know. Is this the final Oppenheimer trailer? I hope not.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Because the first one was like barely a trailer. It was just a lot like.
That one was dope though, with all the
I know. I think that was legit. Well, they had 2 teasers because they had that great teaser right before Nope, and I was like, holy shit, this is like
there were a couple of different teasers.
The clock ticking down, and like it was in black and white. I'm like, oh, he's making Mank.
Yeah.
And then you watch this trailer.
I did not like, but it would be. No,
but you watch this trailer, it's like, oh, it's in color. But like, oh, I guess when he goes to court, it'll be in black and white. So like he's gunning for that Oscar, Chris. I already said it like the whole time. He's gunning for it.
I'm gonna watch. I kind of wish I hadn't seen this trailer, but it would be to be like, should I put on the mask? 2 + 2 is 4, and I was like, what the? But it was because the speaker.
Matt Damon is like, you're a womanizer.
It was so weird.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is this what Oppenheimer was like? They're like, you're a genius drunk womanizer, but. Damn it, we need this bomb, man. And
I think it's like the most Hollywood ass trailer for that film you can make, and I did not like it.
I pissed everyone off with my ideals about like the theater system should survive during the pandemic, and Tom Cruise is like, once these theaters open for good, the people will come. So he won and Chris Nolan lost, which is why I see when Spielberg was at his knees. Bending the knee to Tom Cruise, like, thank you, you saved Hollywood. And Chris Nolan with his scarf is just like, him, like,
hey yo.
But Chris Nolan was like, even though he's probably respects Tom Cruise for his lack of like, we don't need CGI, we are the CGI. Like,
that's fact. That's correct. No, but yeah, getting back to Kang. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be all of season 2. I would imagine that Victor Timely is going to become very important to the story at some point.
You also have to wonder about his availability, and given that he probably took this role knowing he would have to play 8 potential versions of this character.
Think of how many different CG characters he was CGI'd in at the end of that one.
It's easy to do the ending where like a lot of them have like almost that same comic book inspired outfit, but to play the 3 ones in charge, the Conqueror,
I bet you there are
the one who remains.
I bet you he did 50 different Kangs for that sequence. But you're
think
right.
He was like that creature and went, right as the like screen cut to black.
It's one of those things where I think you're right, but I think because of the pandemic and maybe his schedule,
I said this before. The fact that Lovecraft Country was canceled probably freed up his availability, and we just talked about like Magazine Dreams is a film that he was probably only did because he was in great. I'm not saying like in a negative way, but like he was in great shape for
Great
Creed.
shape,
So it's
yeah.
like, well, what are some roles I can use this body for while I got it? Like I don't have to do it. The work
So
of
you
like
see these abs?
even though he was already a jacked guy, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, he was already that guy, yeah. He was already that guy.
So I can imagine, like, you know, something like Magazine Dreams being an indie film, I don't think probably took more than a month to shoot. So that he is, again, like most of these actors today are working actors. Like the money isn't what it once was because the star power isn't what it once was. The IP is. So him going from something like an HBO show to, you know, Loki to then Creed to then Quantumania, you know, he's trying to stay in the realm, and I don't know what he has planned next. And again, he did have a Netflix film in The Heart of They Fall.
Let's see. I do think the other thing though is I'm going to the way that this film was again, looking at those post-credit scenes. Damn it, the way that
you're in the quantum realm right now.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's one of those things where I think he's dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's putting a lot into this character.
Exactly, and I think they picked the right actor to play this character. And I know there was, I don't think there was much of a backlash with the race switching in terms of, you know, Nathaniel Richards is a white man in the comics, but obviously Jonathan Majors isn't. But I, much like how there was major backlash from Michael B. Jordan, his Creed co-star, as Johnny Storm in 2015's Fantastic Four, which again doesn't make any sense because I'm always like, let the best actors play the part. And I know there's always like that conversation of like certain characters have to remain a certain race just given background. But almost like we also have amazing talented actors who can play any role. Like that was what was an amazing part of like Denzel's Macbeth is like, again, you get to see Denzel Washington be Macbeth, and he's already done Shakespeare before, but like, again, like let our best actors do the best works, like whether they be Hispanic, Asian, Black, you know, whatever else. And the fact that I think the MCU saw smart enough in terms of to like, let's get this guy in and we can work backwards in terms of how he's a descendant of Reed Richards, which I know he is without knowing too much of the comic book history. And that they did have Jonathan Krasinski as Reed Richards again in one multiverse. So he may not necessarily be the ancestor to Jonathan Majors Kang. There's still a potential chance he is, but you never know. Again, that the whole point I think of Jonathan Krasinski doing Multiverse of Madness was to be like, all right, already, damn, all right, please, like,
yeah, no, for real. Well, but but wait, I think to add on to that though, I think that's also the that's the foreshadowing. That's the you're not gonna get what you want. And because it's a multiverse, these other iterations of this thing could happen, but and you may or may not get that, but that's not where we're going right now. Do you know about Secret Wars? The
Jonathan Hickman comic?
Yeah, from like 2015.
Yeah, I've tried to. So after this movie, I tried to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
In terms, I know the arc of that series is like Reed Richards tries to save the universes while letting them destroy themselves, and that Doctor Doom was the only one who has the way to save it, which is like they have to die and we have to restart. But I think ultimately is like they're the lone survivor at the end of the day because.
But the key to it was, and it was kind of at the time, Marvel was very bloated. It's kind of interesting. We're getting back to this conversation, but
because they had. That's funny. I just saw something today. Like they had regular Marvel 616, the foundation that always carried through from the 60s onward, and then 2000s come around. We need a fresh start. The Ultimates, and that was
Ultimate Universe,
Spider-Man, Ultimates, which is the Avengers, and X-Men. They kind of were redoing it. Then, like I said, Secret Wars combines both of those.
Well, it was more than that though, because that's the thing. It's like because they had like they look at like the zombie universe, like the 2099, like all the but
those two being the main arcs, which is Marvel history proper, and the Ultimates, which was current day. What's the biggest stories like? But that's what they were trying to. Let
me get to my point though, because one of the things was you were right with Dr. Doom was the only one that was able to do it, but the key was he was holding think of the Earth but instead of
Yeah.
no, for real, like it's
No, I know.
like he was trying to hold everything. Everything blew up. There's too much because this is where all the incursions comes from the comics. It's like right here, right now.
Yeah.
It was I've seen the Illuminati that you saw in the Multiverse of Madness. They were working behind the scenes trying to get. Sometimes you lost the whole fucking Earth. Sorry, what can you do? But all these colliding Earths went to this moment where everything got destroyed, and Doom was the only one that held it together. But he essentially made an Earth that was fucking jigsaw puzzled together. So like you may have like one land, like Canada may have been zombie land, and America was the 616, and like some region, and like it was all these random regions that were what Doom remembered from the memories of all the different shit, and him like holding it together. That's what
Miles Morales became.
Literally
Spider-Man.
That's how they put him
forward.
into the main four, because they
like the regular X-Men still exist, like regular X-Men from Marvel history still existed, but like they like you said, they took pieces from each one to like make a new world with.
It's like AEW. They just plucked all the things you remembered and they put it in one timeline. No, but that's kind of what the MCU does right now. Like they're not like they're down to tell quality classic comic book storylines, but they're not trying to stick to the script. They are down to play around with some stuff, especially if it's in the lore. Now, when they do this and it works, I'm down. When they do it and it's MODOK, like fuck y'all. Like I
speak about my boy Corey Stoll showing up.
I'm not mad at him. I don't care. Like I was surprised. It's the same because they did the same shit with the Red Skull in Endgame.
Yeah, Infinity War.
In Infinity War,
in both, yeah, because
he was the keeper.
He
of
runs
the
it back the same
Stone.
way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that made sense, and again, that's one of those things where they had this character and they found a different way to use it. I understand that. They did the same thing here, but and this is why I know fucking Kang the Conqueror ain't dead, because we ain't seen fucking Yellow Jacket since the first Ant-Man movie when he got all scrunched up and was disappeared. I thought he was dead. I did not need to see him. I was not trying to see his little shriveled up ass literally be thrown into the fucking MODOK suit and because MODOK's a dick in the comics. Like he's always screaming, and it's literally this giant head, although he's got hair and the MODOK character.
Well, they weren't gonna put a wig on Corey Stoll at this point. They would have just done that in the first Ant-Man movie. But I know what you mean. But Corey Stoll is playing the I am MODOK now, and he is like a dick at first until he is, I would say, not even though his performance is good, but like that character, like now he wants to be a hero. And I always do hate the instant 180 face turn in a movie from a bad guy who's now a good guy. We just talked about this with John Cena in Fast 9, where he was the main villain for the whole film until like Vin Diesel needs help and I'm here to help you.
Why
so him saving
his face looked like they scanned it into 2K.
And then basically, that is a good analogy. That's spot on, to be honest.
I'm sorry, but
that's perfect, because I did try that once. I'm like, this shit doesn't even.
It don't work. Impossible. No, if you're trying to get it to look perfect, you got to be a perfect looking motherfucker. Because it's
and now there's all the talks of.
You see how those AI programs, they can't even draw hands properly. Like the computer's not going to put
you like it has 6 fingers. Those
weird
AI drawings. Yeah,
it's like a Rob Liefeld hiding the feet in the things. Like,
well, he would just make like everyone had ninja feet.
So they had, or it was like smoke covering the ground. These when I saw somebody on Twitter talking about it, I'm like, yeah, all their hands are fucked up. And then like the next program I saw, because I guess that's a thing where it's hard to do, like all their hands are like behind their back, or like they would be like up.
Well, that would just be like, maybe that's just a multiverse where people have multiple fingers on their hands. You never know. Like
it's really everything everywhere all at once.
I still haven't seen that. That's the irony of
you should watch it. I mean that is
potential best picture winner. Yeah,
but it's not even spoiling it, but like that movie it's a multiverse. It's a Marvel multiverse film outside of the Marvel multiverse.
Oh no, because as someone who unabashedly loves Multiverse of Madness, while everyone's like it wasn't good, it wasn't what I expected to be, I'm like, that movie is great from start to finish. The action's great, the comedy's great, the drama's great. I just loved
I've not rewatched
everything about it. Everyone's like, if you want a real multiverse movie, go watch this movie. And it was Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I wasn't like, no, I just like, I haven't seen it yet is the thing. I just haven't seen it.
It's a phenomenal film, but you have to like it's A24, so it's not just
it's not A24. It's the guys that made, like we said this a few
no,
times,
but
the
I'm
guys
saying,
that made Turn Down for What? Like
but,
it's that.
No, but what this is the thing though. They're not an issue. There's nothing wrong with this. The thing is because it's an A24 film, it's not just going to be Multiverse of Madness without Doctor Strange. Like there's just like their horror movies aren't just horror movies. Like Hereditary is not just a horror movie. Midsommar is not just, that's what I'm saying. So like, it there's something else going on with that film.
Yeah,
too.
I know
it's
a story of a mother and a daughter, and
there's a lot outside of that, but they use that as kind of the framework. Whereas Multiverse of Madness is kind of just how do we get to the next chapter in this saga.
But that's the thing, and I saw one piece of criticism which I didn't take in like a well fuck you way, but I'm like, no, you're right, like that this is just another episode in the MCU, but like, and I don't want to be like, well, no fucking shit, but no fucking shit. That's what they've all been, with the exception of like 8 entries. They've all been like, tune in this week on MCU, arc back well on Earth, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
But wait,
their
Drip,
adventures begin. Like,
wait, Trip, you're turning how old on Friday?
28.
28. So you're almost getting to the age where you're starting to become old. Like once you hit 30, you're too old to be dumb. But there's a lot of things about life you still don't know yet. But you've got the I've lived through the bullshit excitement about certain things. So you understand things about release schedules and cinema and things that people don't. You've had these conversations before. You're starting to see a bunch of people, probably 14 to 20, to be kind of liberal with it, who the last two, the phase 4 of the MCU was how they got into the MCU, or when they really got hardcore, where literally if it wasn't after the movie's out, you've got maybe a week or two, and then there's another show, and then after that show is gone, another movie or another show's popping, or a 45-minute fucking Disney Plus special. Like they've been inundated with so much that they don't know a time, or they don't remember a time where they had to wait, or that the film was kind of like what Kevin Feige didn't say was that we're going to be. Did he say we're treating the movies like TV? Essentially, what's going to happen is that
they always did, and that was and the person who said this, I think, might be around my same age. I'm not. It was just someone I follow retweet them. I'm like, yeah, you're right, and I'm like, thinking like after a while, they'd all became episodes of the MCU as a whole. It's like, so this time we're just checking back in with Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne. Previously, we were with the Guardians of the Galaxy,
but it doesn't have to be like Wakanda
I know it doesn't
Forever
have to be
proved that. Like Wakanda Forever, we got an entire story about what was going on in Wakanda, which was the driving narrative in that thing. But they introduced someone who could potentially be a impact player, especially for the bad guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they introduced Ironheart, who's having a series at some point on this. There were like 3 or 4 things that they set up, but it did and say what you will about if it was better or worse than the first Black Panther, where it sits in the ranking. I could care less. That's a film that felt like another edition, a proper edition of the Black Panther saga that happens to be part of this phase that's under this umbrella, this multiverse, this universe that they're building right now. Ant-Man felt like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, KangMania felt like Kang, the Conqueror, in the quantum realm, guest starring Ant-Man, Michelle Pfeiffer, fucking
Michael Douglas,
co-starring or featured. How do they say it in SNL? Featuring the people featuring Evangeline Lilly and Catherine Newton may get a higher billing than
Saturday Night with Paul Rudd. Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, and your host, Kang the Conqueror.
Big facts. And then he just pops out. Yeah, the fucking
musical guest, MODOK.
I'm sorry.
Which MODOK would totally be like a band name. Like
he'd be fucking DJing and shit. He would put on a whole. It would be a whole EDM festival in there for 5 minutes.
But yeah, but I mean, they've all been. I mean, it's coming on because I know, like, I was the 13-year-old that this started with in 2008. It kickstarted 15 years ago almost. Right. Mm-hmm. So I've seen this going on, and those first few entries were almost standalone movies that they were trying to string together bit by bit by bit, and then after Age of Ultron, going into Ant-Man, and then it's like, okay, then as they get right. Van Lathan once made a good argument that like they had to use Civil War to introduce Black Panther, which made you extra hyped for Black Panther.
And Spider-Man, yeah.
Well, and then once they had Spider-Man, they're like, we want to get him in as soon as possible. Let's just throw him into Civil War. And that makes much more sense. And like you just said, like we can't hold Wakanda Forever to the same standards as Black Panther for a number of reasons, and not just the star of the whole films being different. Right. It's one film really kind of is standalone of like in terms of one man's journey of prince to a king, protector to a ruler, whereas like this is a woman dealing with loss, a mother dealing with loss, a villain who is actually the hero, but he has to do whatever it takes to protect his people. Now a woman who's done something wrong by creating a device is now thrown into it. Is a full-fledged like TV show episode, and that's the thing. Like it almost, I mean, shout out to someone like Meals who would be able to break down anime a lot more. But it almost is like every 3 episodes is like an arc of an anime.
Yeah, especially with Dragon Ball. Yeah, at a certain point,
it's something like that, and that's basically what an MCU movie is more or less these days. But more so the sequels. If it isn't a standalone or a character introduction, the sequels are the mini arcs. Like something from Far From Home is Peter Parker dealing with the events of Infinity War and Endgame, and then it's really just setting up what's next. Like they didn't really care about Mysterio too much, except that they got Jake Gyllenhaal to show up, and he was like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do another one." And they're like, "Great!" And then the movie ends.
CGI,
but I mean, no, but the movie ends with something that's much more important than what we just sat through the previous 2 hours, which is now we know who Spider-Man is. It's Peter Parker,
right?
And the whole point of No Way Home is now how does he undo that?
They built that like an episode of Nitro.
They see you next week. Like
they built Far From Home like an episode of Nitro, and they built Quantumania. I was just thinking about it. It ran. What's one of the fast? Like you ever seen 2 people in the ring, and it's just like they don't stop moving.
Yeah, it's Ultimo Dragon D. Malenko. You saw.
Yeah, that's a good one. It really like it. How quick was it into the movie where like the most obvious shit? I'm gonna send a signal to the quantum realm. You don't think that something's gonna come back, you idiot? You could.
Well, that's why if you want to put up the image of Scott Lang at the library, I do like the opening where it's like, "What's my life been like the last few years?" I wrote up like him. I do love this scene of him.
Welcome back, Cotter playing.
Yeah, it's just perfect Paul Rudd of him like reading the book and like winking at the kid and being like, "I love you, Cassie. I'm sorry I missed a lot of." It's just like his charm and charisma, and like him, like look out and hey, look out for the little guy. Like,
no, I thought it was cool, and actually I liked how they played it at the end because the idea of because that's just grown father type talk. Like you're walking down the street, not thinking of nothing, and then it's like, oh shit. Is it gone? Like what we were talking about earlier.
That's the thing, like that makes a much more better ending than like him and Hope stuck in the quantum realm. Like, like this guy has to come back to the real world and be like, I'm like this guy actually was like, now that it's sitting with me, he was saying some crazy stuff. Right?
He's actually thinking about it. Yeah,
like, he was saying he was trying to help us, but like there's more of him. And what if they show up?
Yeah, well,
he's like, it's just me now. Like, there aren't even any more Avengers.
That's the key. It's like one of the things because that's the if we'd only gotten more of that, like that's the storyline.
Like, I can't wait to watch the next episode or like, and it gets compared to like the next movie because like we have to get through a secret invasion, which is still TBD with a date, and then Loki. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is before Loki, I believe. And that's wrapping up an own trilogy, just like how this is kind of wrapping up the Ant-Man. Fuck you. We'll review that.
I don't know if I really like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like, it's so like I have zero. I saw the brief trailer. I have zero hype for that movie right now. Maybe when it comes,
how dare you?
I'm not that invested right now. I don't even know what the hell's going on. But it's a thing where we got. I don't remember. It was 2 hours and change with Quantumania.
At least it is almost just like 2 hours flat. Yeah.
This opening scene was like the first 3 or 4 minutes. We revisit it for like 5 minutes at the end, but then we had like an hour and 50 some minutes, hour 45 minutes or whatever movie in between. That could have been it could have been 20 minutes. We were in it, and that's the thing. It's like we got a really good, flip flop of Scott Lang, being the Avenger who's kind of still stuck in his ways of not being up to task fully in his life, to where all this shit goes on. We don't know where this man is at. Now he's just now realizing, oh shit, this is really bad. It kind of just talk about white privilege, but it's like you said, that feels more important than anything else that we saw aside from Jonathan Majors.
Oh no, it's like, well, again, it opens up like, and I know everyone was mad because I felt away too, and it was like Ant-Man 3 opens. I mean, Ant-Man 3 is about Scott Lang being a celebrity now and kind of forgetting his daughter. Like the whole point of the first 2 Ant-Man movies were like Scott Lang's like the greatest dad ever when he's trying to be, and now it's like he's let fame go to his head because like he is the guy that saved the world, as he likes to remind them at the dinner table. Like, oh, I never heard you. Did you save the world, Scott? Like they had that good back and forth of like picking on him because he saved. But again, he got out of the quantum realm by himself and said, like, I have the pin part. We can time travel. We can save everyone. So he saved the world. And that's the thing. It's like Paul Rudd saves the world. And then like somehow Cassie teaches herself all the learnings of quantum without Scott or Hank Pym, because he got blipped.
Yeah, no,
they all got flipped, and she somehow like teaches herself, which I guess would make sense. Like how am I going to get my dad back? I'm going to learn the ways to get him back. And I guess we don't know how much time has passed since they get back together. I bet it is probably a few years. Like I don't think he wrote that book in 3 months. Like,
no, well, yeah, because I mean, I can't tell her age.
She's probably like in 16, 17-ish.
She's woke but she's been arrested. Like she's woke as fuck.
Yeah,
and again, she's like to be.
Well, Catherine Newton, I think, is probably like 21, 22, but I don't think they go that. They don't cast real age, but again, the daughter in Endgame, when he shows up at the house and she's grown, he's like, "My God, you've gotten so big!" And it's been 5 years, as we all know. She was probably 8 or 9.
My assumption was that she was like
15, 16.
I mean, when that motherfucker said this is her second time getting arrested.
You made any new friends in the slammer this time? This time, yeah.
I assumed she was like 17, 18 years old. I figured she was going to be, her date of birth is July 2007 in the MCU. What year are they in right now?
They should be like 2024 or 5, right?
So she may be like 17, 18 years old. Let's see if this list.
That's the thing. When I hate this is what really gives me the headache. It's like, oh my God, what it's like again when we talked about the Fast and Furious series, like what year are we supposed to be in? How many years have passed? This kid is not only is this kid black, he is now 9 years old. Like that's what happens with like these franchises that you keep sustaining again because they're episodes. They're not a sequel. They're just this is an episode. It's a sequel to the Ant-Man franchise, but it's an episode in the MCU.
She was 16 in Endgame. When she answered the door,
so she's supposed to be 11 in Quantum. I mean, in the Wasp. In the Wasp, she's supposed to be 11. Which I mean, she seems maybe like she's 11. I don't know.
Does this show after the Battle of Earth? Battle of Earth was what year? Fucking what is the timeline? I'm sorry. Returning into the present. This keeps talking about 2023. So
that's when Endgame starts, but I wonder how much time has passed.
That's what I'm saying. Like it I think Endgame was 2023. That would have been released in when? 2019?
Which one?
Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame is 2019.
Hold up. Hold up. I'm sorry. Pulse MCU timeline. I'm sorry. Anybody watching this, I apologize.
This is the confusing part because it's like and this is what's with doing the shows as well. Like, when was WandaVision taking place, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier taking place, and then obviously Loki is taking place in its own other realm because he's dead, and well, not dead. He got picked up by the TVA, but
still.
But yeah, it's
2016. Come on, 2020. All right, so no, these are just when the movies. I fucking hate you.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like you can never really find an accurate depiction because they like because Ant-Man and the Wasp was like over 3 days. Like Spider-Man Far From Home was like a 2-3 week, not even 2 week, I think. European vacation they were going on. Like
some of those movies also happened in like a day.
Yeah, and then No Way Home looks like it takes place over some months after he continues to try to get admitted to college. So I think that's after everyone knows he's Spider-Man, it seems like he kind of goes through the school year until Christmas time. So maybe it's only a few months. Maybe like everyone knows I think it's first day of school, everyone knows he's Spider-Man, and it probably carries on until Christmas time because the movie ends with like snow falling and Christmas decorations are up because the Halloween decorations were up when he gets the idea to go see Doctor Strange. But like, it's that confusing thing. But no, I agree. Like the movie, a lot of like the middle part of the movie, it's mainly just like once Kang shows up, the movie does kick into full gear for real. And that's where like I think you could have shaved 20 minutes from this and a lot of like the 20 minutes of nonsense jokes and side characters. Like I again, it's like I really don't care about the resistant fighters in the quantum realm. Like no offense to the Amazon Xeno woman or William Jackson Harper from The Good Place. I just wish he could have been a better character in this than the guy who reads minds.
Facts.
Or the guy who's like, drink me. That was pretty funny though. Like
that
shit
was weird. The black ladies near me, they liked the black guy who could read minds. I forget. Main man, they liked his character. They were actually kind of pissed they didn't get more.
Well, he's a great actor.
Big facts.
He's great on The Good Place, and he's the only one who's making sense in Midsommar. Like,
yeah,
like he's the only one who's kind of like, what's going on here? Like,
and he still gets fucking killed.
Yeah, well, that's American ignorance. Midsommar.
Big facts.
Because Will Poulter plays the guy's like, this shit's fucking awesome, bro. Like the European chicks and drugs, like fuck yeah. Like,
all right, so hold up. I'm really trying to figure. Well, keep going, but I'm really trying to figure out the year on when this shit happened. This one Marvel Cinematic Universe.fandom.com is not updated all their Quantum Realm stuff yet, so it's not telling me how much time in between. Endgame is the last time we know. She was 16 in that film. I don't know when the events of this film technically start.
I imagine it's probably a year or two later because again, like Hope has a new haircut. She built Pim Van Dyne Technologies, right? Or
yes, she's established.
It seems like time has actually passed more in this film than any other one. Again, like Scott's a full-fledged celebrity.
I was assuming Cassie was 18. If you said 19, I wouldn't be surprised. But I was figuring she was.
It does seem like they're in each other's lives, but he still hasn't been as into it while his fame is going. It's still like he's still around, but hasn't been around. He's been on being tour. In jail and then being blipped and then. Which again, at the end of the day, his still core value is like to save his daughter. Like once they get into the quantum realm, it's like we just got to get back. And her being, like a social justice warrior, like an advocate, like she's fighting for the homeless in San Francisco.
Right.
And then once you get to the quantum realm, she's like, we got to save these people because like whatever this threat is, they're scared of it. And we need to help them. You're an Avenger. He's like, I'm just an Avenger. He's like, it's just one of me. And like, even though he is like, he can turn into like the biggest one of them all, which is like, that should kind of help you. Cause it does at the end when he just turns into the giant man, just like kicks through everything and like knocks everything down. That's why Kang just gets so pissed. And he's just like, fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Put up the shields.
You just got to love how easy it is for these, like, and I'm not saying this is like, a man and male characters and women, but like I thought She-Hulk gained those powers quick. Cassie
I still haven't even gotten to She-Hulk. When she becomes she couldn't it took her a little bit of the film to nail the jump, the hop
jump punch move. But she was big as fuck, just like running around house and shit for a bit.
She knows like I gotta put these into the
Is that osmosis? That's just like the
no. She's probably seen him in action. Like she knows she has to put the gadgets that make you large into the whatever they call that gizmo gadget thing.
I don't remember what it's called. The thing with the hit. The shit they hit on their thing. But She-Hulk, she was She-Hulk quick as fuck, which is probably for the best for that series. But if you're somebody that gets pissed off about power levels and how quickly people get powered up.
Well, she's still running, and that's a lot, and that's so unfortunately like probably 15-20 minutes of this movie is like running in panic, and a lot of it is Kat just like running away, like looking behind, like as like shit is getting and that's like Bill Pope, who shot Army of Darkness, The Matrix, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. World, shot this movie, and you really can't tell because like this is it's kind of like a flat movie visually, and I hate to say it, but like, well, we can get into that in a minute, but like the real, like I said, there was one sequence I thought was amazing. That's the sequence where he's in the when he goes super subatomic to get the device out, and then he becomes multiple Scotts. I love that scene. If you put that image up, I think this is this will be probably my scenes of the year, because when the one from Baskin Robbins shows up and he's just like, hey, what's going on, guys? Like, I just thought it was weird because they were like barking at each other, like, I'm the real one. And then they start to panic when it goes wrong. And then like you see like he's the one leading the way. And then they go like, they form like the ant chain, and that's brilliant. Like he again is the Ant-Man. So like they stack on each other, and they're like, go get her, like do it for Cassie. Like I loved it. Like it was making me tear up a little bit as he's like trying to get this device after hearing his daughter's voice. And on the flip side too, like Hope comes down too and like super subatomic dies and like assists him, and he's like, are you really here? She's like, it's me. Like they save each other, and it's like the Ant-Man and the Wasp and like together saving each other. Like it was a great
that was
scene. That was the biggest highlight of the film.
I was going to say it was the most that she got to do. It was the most that the Wasp got to do.
But that scene I love is like it's you're Schrodinger's, you're the cat, and this is Schrodinger. Like like you're gonna multiply as you start to panic. And
I wish it wasn't so cookie cutter. I'll tell you that much.
You thought it was cookie cutter?
I saw everything coming a mile a minute. Him going down there and having to help hoist himself up, and then her being the one.
But it's that good. Like that's what blockbusters are supposed to be. Like give me the stuff and make me feel the way. Like I know I might have seen this before or expecting it, because what we expect to happen next happens when he gets it and he's like, now give it to me. He's like, no, let my daughter go. He's like, that wasn't the deal. Like it's like every action movie trope of like I did what you wanted and I let her go. And then what's funny is like when they try to take out Kang at the same time, he just goes tink because they're ants, and he just like, come on, get the fuck out of here. Like I'm the fucking conqueror. Like what are you gonna do to me? Like
nonsense, man. Look, there were some cool parts in that film, but I don't know. So Paul Rudd.
I know what you mean, because it is at the end of the day, it's a solid 3.5 out of 5 to me, because his performance really carries it, and that sequence, and this kind of sequence at the end is a little bit better too, especially when the giant techno ants show up, which you knew that was going to happen too. Again, like not to be like, oh, I'm a genius, I can see this coming over my way.
But immediately.
They built that up smartly from the beginning. It's like, Scott, I created smart ants, and I'm like, these are gonna come into play. Like
once I saw them get sucked up into the fucking quantum realm as well, you knew they were gonna be there. I didn't know. I wasn't thinking that they were the ones trying to communicate with him through his fucking ear.
Oh, I knew that was the case.
I wasn't picking up on that initially, but it made
he's
sense.
Like, they have their own society, Scott. They become so far advanced than I can ever imagine, and you can tell Michael Douglas does not want to be in these movies until that scene. That was the only time when he was talking about these ants, and he said, because someone told me it's all you gotta do is like grow or something. Like,
oh yeah, something like he whatever the line was from the book.
And he's like, you read my book? And he's like, every damn word. I'm like, fuck, yes, like
you love that shit.
I love that. I do. I see. That's where I'm probably a cynic 65% of the time, but that 35%, I just want to love shit, man. I just want to love like again, a man loving a woman, or like a man loving his mentor,
I
a man protecting his daughter, or like, you know, being inspired by it. It's like my favorite part in my favorite movie Creed is when he's knocked out and he gets the flashbacks of he sees Rocky, he sees Felicia Rashad, he sees Tessa Thompson, and then he sees archive footage of Apollo Creed, and he goes and like rises back up. Like that's my favorite scene, because it's just like he never met this man, and that man is somehow motivating him to like get up and like but yeah. But no, at the end, Kang just boils it down to one thing. Like, you think you can stop me? You talk to ants.
I did laugh at that.
That was my, again, favorite part. That's when like Jonathan Majors showed up to set that day. Like, I am ready to act.
Yeah,
like
he was trying to kill somebody with that.
And that's again
delivery.
Like, and that's like the basic premise for like this character. Like, yeah, this is the guy that like talks to ants and he shrinks and then grows. Like, he also went like full Michael Shannon as Zod and Man of Steel with that line delivery, like especially once he starts kicking his ass at the end. He's like, "You think you could stop me? You think you can win?" Like, and he's just like whooping his ass of like kung fu going, ah, ah! He's like making like he's making like all the karate noises as he's going like, ah, ah! Like
true.
Like, oh, I'm like, I thought he did Creed after this because he's trying to use that like technique, like two to the gut, one to the head, and like
he knew what he was doing.
Scott Lang, I mean, he did prison time, so he's a little bit tough, and I don't think he couldn't like go 3 more rounds if he had to. Hey, no, but I mean, you said like the Wasp shows up and just like blasts him to death, and like I guess like what Kang's other blaster didn't work to like fight her off.
Jesus,
I guess that's the point where like him being the conqueror again, and him being maybe not as great as he thinks he is, it gets the best. But I do, I agree. I think he will be the one to come back at the end of the day. I don't know if Kang Dynasty is all of them showing up. That would be pretty cool. Which is like 7 Jonathan Majors, like again, you know, like instead of Thanos hopping from planet to planet, it's like on one planet it's one Majors, on one planet it's another Majors, on one planet it's another Majors, fighting like these group of heroes, these group of heroes, these group of heroes. I think that's maybe how it could go.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, Paul Rudd. So like I've said on prior episodes, my mom loved Clueless. So did my dad. So does my dad. My dad loves Clueless. It's one of the few things that they agreed on together was their love for Clueless, which, funny enough, was shot by Bill Pope. Crazy. I looked that up today. I had no idea that like this man, probably one of the greatest American cinematographers ever, shot Clueless. And I'm like, yeah, you know, but I don't think of like the Sam Raimi whip pans and Clueless like he does in what he'll do in Edgar Wright films or even the Matrix trilogy. But yeah, you can see like there's some cinema in Clueless, but he's famously Josh in Clueless, her ex stepbrother, which is still probably one of the grossest ways to end a film, which is them kissing, because it's like she's underage as well. It's a whole. I love Clueless. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
This shit sound like it's on Pornhub.
But it is like older stepbrother from college and blonde. Attractive stepsister, but again, it's an amazing movie. And my mom loved him on the show Sisters. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It was in the
I'm not up on that.
He was famously on the last few seasons of Friends. But also like he's been the go-to guy in like the for the Adam McKays, the Judd Apatows. I mean, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, he's great in. Knocked Up. Knocked Up in This Is 40. He kind of has some good parts in that, but not as much as like the roles I have here. So in the top left, we have Regan, who's moved to Hawaii to basically like live the life of like a lazy stoner dude. He's like, in America, man, yeah, it was just so different here. I don't even own a watch. And Jason Segel was like, that's pretty cool. It's like, it's because I can tell time on my phone now. It's just like he's just. Jesus. It's like he's like, I don't think he's like he's the surfing instructor on the island. They're like, have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No.
Oh wow.
No. Yeah, no.
Is it one of those things that are like too white for me?
It's a very white film.
Okay, I know what. I never really want to go to that place sometimes with y'all, but no, I understand.
It's a very white barrier entry for film like that. And if I know at a certain point that it's going to be like that for 2 hours, if it's on and somebody's watching it, I won't turn it off. But
yeah. But and then top middle, it's again Clueless. Top right is 40-Year-Old Virgin. You've had to seen 40-Year-Old Virgin though, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay. Again, 40-Year-Old. When you asked me to send a scene when we had Keeks on for Off White, one of my favorite scenes of all time is Kevin Hart versus Romani Malco.
Oh yeah.
But I can't send that scene because I can't say it.
Me and Fame were just talking about that.
Because I could never repeat any line from that scene with the exception of we used to fuck dwarves in the ass. Like
Spoon. Yeah.
Spoon. I'm talking Frosty.
Yeah.
Like, this your man's? Yeah, it's my fucking man. This your boy? Yeah.
We both rep the same smart tech.
But Paul Rudd is great as like the only guy who's like been in a relationship, but you kind of find out like he's a bit creepy because he's kind of stalking Mindy Kaling while being in love with her. He has some great lines of that. Obviously, middle left, Brian Fantana, Anchorman, Sex Panther scene, legendary. Middle row, Ant-Man. When he got announced to play Ant-Man, I know it was down to him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm like, oh, two of my faves, but like I always prefer Paul Rudd over Joseph Gordon-Levitt. No offense, but it was a shock that they went after again. Like it's like we think like this guy is a comedy actor and they want him in like this action comic book movie. Like he fits the role. And once you find out like the difference of Scott Lang versus Hank Pym, you know, I think he's believable as like a Hank Pym type too. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had cast him. But middle right is you've ever watched Parks and Rec?
Not a lot.
Okay, well, it's better than The Office. No matter what you or my dad might say, Parks and Rec is better than The Office. It is. Especially after season 2.
Oh, it takes 2 seasons?
It is the show that actually gets better as it goes on compared to The Office, whereas it's good and then declines.
Well, the Office is good, and then it gets better, and then it very much falls off a cliff once Carell's gone.
But
they just stayed on. They just stayed on for too long. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, and that's a whole nother debate. Is the much like the MCU? Do you tap out now or do you?
Nah, for real.
I think people would say the MCU is like you made Endgame. What else is there to tell? And I'm like, well, they actually have a lot more to tell. To be honest,
they have a lot, but I think you kind of gotta
realize. Or you got to realize like when you've peaked. And I think that's the thing more or less with the MCU is like they have peaked and everything after this is like
a reset.
Or not a reset. It's like extra credit or like.
Well, but I don't think they're done is the thing. I think they could probably pull it off again. It's not going to happen every phase.
Or maybe you're not averaging 29 anymore. You're averaging 16. You can still have a career averaging 16.
Exactly.
But on Parks and Rec, Paul Rudd has a recurring role as Bobby Newport, who is like the fail son of this guy who like owns the town that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like he tries to run for mayor, and like he's just like a dope idiot. Like he's just like he like thinks everything too literally, and he's just like he's great on the show in numerous episodes. But he's one of those things like he's like a George W. Bush type of like a guy who's not equipped to hold political office because he's just not all there, or he's just like too kindly. Like bottom left is Wet Hot American Summer, which is one of the inspirations for Orange Cassidy's character.
Oh boy,
it is him in the glasses and the denim jacket. You see it, right?
Yeah, I see it.
His character in that is just like this guy again who's like very like nonchalant, like lazy. He's kind of an asshole. And the theme song in Wet Hot American Summer is Orange Cassidy's theme song.
God. It all makes sense now.
And they did 2 seasons because Wet Hot American Summer was like this legendary indie comedy, but then Netflix did a 10-episode season like 10 years later. That was really good.
Yeah,
they did a follow-up season that wasn't as good.
Yikes. It happens.
Yeah. But he's great as that character in the movie and the first season of the show. And then in the bottom middle, did you see This Is the End?
No.
Wow. Okay. And This Is the End.
Was This Is the End better than Hot Tub Time Machine or whatever?
Oh,
yeah. The same shit.
Yeah.
I feel like the same movie.
No, definitely better than Hot. Oh, I've only seen parts of Hot Tub Time Machine. So, but This Is the End has like all sorts of like legendary cameos, mainly where people are playing themselves because it's like it's the movie where like, and imagine like all of us guys who make the same movies are in an apocalypse.
Right.
Paul Rudd is the guy who's late to the party as like the rapture is starting, and he's running with this giant bottle of champagne, being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like everyone's watching the rapture unfold. It's like Rudd was late because he was getting this giant bottle of champagne.
Jesus, of course.
While like while Rihanna and Michael Cera fall into like this sinkhole into like the center of the earth, which is supposed to be hell.
Ridiculous. That makes sense.
And then the bottom right is Role Models, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I used to watch this movie a ton.
I don't think I saw Role Models.
Oh, you should. It's really like Paul Rudd, great comedy. He's what I want in like a comedy actor. Like when it comes to like a comedy star on the big screen, it's Paul Rudd.
Right. That makes sense.
I would say, yeah. I mean, who was that in the '90s? I guess it would have been like, Jim Carrey. Yeah, and I see it. I guess
Carrey,
yeah.
They were opposite sides. Like Jim Carrey was the funny man. Tom Hanks was like the but it was a different time though. Like Paul Rudd's post. Paul Rudd is post Stone Cold, post Attitude Era. Like people wanted like a nice person. They wanted their action people to be action people, and they wanted their comedy rom-com guy to be very nice. Now maybe
Paul Rudd is like he's very like Paul Rudd's just like a man who doesn't age. Like same for 20 years, and also it's like he seems like a real life guy, and that's the thing I think he carries in all his movies, which is why they wanted him for Ant-Man. It's like because they tried to make Jeremy Renner the regular guy as Hawkeye, but it's like Jeremy Renner is also like a guy who's supposed to be an action star, but like they couldn't hack it. They got Paul Rudd to be the regular, and since Chris Pratt transformed from the regular guy into the action star, they were like, we have to get one of these guys to be like a guy who looks like he's a legit dad, and Paul Rudd is that guy.
Got it. Paul Rudd.
It's like that Billy Crystal thing. Like Billy Crystal didn't seem like he'd be the romantic lead, but it worked for when Harry met Sally.
True. Yeah, you're right. Damn.
Do you have a favorite Paul Rudd movie or role that isn't? No. Nope. Oh, you're breaking my heart.
No, I mean I like Paul Rudd. I'm not like I don't bangs with him. Like he's cool as Ant-Man. I like him as Ant-Man. I like him in Actually, the best thing that Paul Rudd does
is it the Hot Ones?
No. Fuck that. Fuck that. No. The bit that he would do on Conan O'Brien where he would go
the Mac and Me.
It was always Mac. I'll probably watch it after we do this. That's the funniest shit to me from him. But no, I like him. We went to this. I went to the set. I did a set visit for the for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he was a very nice guy. He's like that's him.
You got to talk to Paul Rudd
in like a group setting, like we did like
you probably my name's Cal. You'd be like, "How you doing, Cal?" Like
he definitely was. He's been on those things before with people that are more seasoned than I was, just a black guy in the back. But he's a very nice guy, very charming guy. But yeah, he's not one of those people who I look to as like, I can't wait for a Paul Rudd movie. I think because of stuff like this, where I've been seeing him since Clueless and everything, and he's been in everything.
A lot of his stuff is very white centric.
It is also very white. No disrespect.
No. I'm saying like that's the unfortunate part of him collaborating with the likes of like David Wayne, who did Wet Hot American Summer and Role Models, and Judd Apatow who did Knocked Up. This is 40. Produced a lot of the movies that Seth Rogen was in, that Paul Rudd had a role in. Adam McKay, and a lot of these, because that was in the 2000s, was the white guys comedy mindset. Those guys, and that Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn. It's that mindset, but he also had that Netflix show where he was a clone. He was himself and he had a clone. I only checked a few episodes of that.
I never watched. I know what you're talking about. I never watched
that. Was too dark comedy, and if it's not like Barry, I don't like black comedy as much. You know what I mean?
No.
What?
No, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean when you say you don't like black comedy.
No, the stuff where it's like,
crazy.
You know what? No. Not back.
I'm just kidding. I feel you.
Yeah, it's like very hit or miss for me sometimes. Where it's like, this is stuff you're kind of supposed to laugh at, but not really.
No,
and not even the fan way. Like, this stuff is bad, but we're gonna laugh at it. Like,
but I was gonna like that. But that's kind of Netflix's bag. Like they're into
which is why
a lot of that stuff. Which I mean, it's definitely, if you're into like true crime and that type of stuff, it's all for you. But it gets, after a while, it gets kind of annoying.
But this show is called Living with Yourself. And in the first episode, there's a cameo by Tom Brady. And it might not seem like he's playing Tom Brady, but he walks into this clinic and walks out. No, and this guy, and Paul Rudd asked him, like, how many times have you been here? Tom Brady's like, 6. So it's trying to like a wink of like Tom Brady went there 6 times after each Super Bowl to get a new body.
Jesus. Anyway.
But that's white noise for this week. We'll probably have another MCU conversation, not debate, once Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes around.
That makes sense.
Volume 3, I should say. We'll be back talking Jonathan Majors next week with Creed 3. I mean, shout out to the man of the moment, him and Pedro Pascal. Like,
facts, not for real.
But yeah, again, he killed it as we all expected he would. And like I said, with just like his subtle ticks as an actor, and again, like going quiet and then loud when he would just like scream in anger.
No, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
And again, like he was a badass too. Like he was just like would vaporize people with his fucking lasers. Like
I still don't know about these damn cups though.
Okay, so real quick,
he got cups.
I think he dresses bad on purpose. Because he's a handsome, good-looking guy who's jacked. Like if you see him in every outfit, it's like he's the worst dressed man on the earth.
I forget what I was reading, but apparently when he was a kid, his mom was it seemed like she was overprotective, and when he was going to college and stuff, she was. I mean, it's morphed into a thing as a thing. Like she used to tell him like not to do anything. Then she was like. Always protect your cup or something like that. She used to tell him.
Oh, about
and that was his thing where it was like, not don't drink, don't smoke, all that stuff. But then as he got older, he morphed it into like, what's your cup, your vessel, protecting your vessel, protect yourself and what you put in. But he travels with cups, like 3 or 4 cups, and he's got 3 cups that have handles, and apparently there's a cup that doesn't have a handle, and they fit in the pocket. I don't know. Like this, the one thing I learned about Jonathan Majors during this press tour was the fact that he's in the cups like that. But yeah, it's a cup, man.
I mean, did you see the GQ Jeremy Strong thing that just dropped? Again, Succession.
I saw it drop
on the way.
I didn't get
talking
to read
about
it
that
yet.
soon.
I'm
saying I didn't leave, but it's just like. It's just, again, Jeremy Strong. He doesn't care if you hate that he's a method actor. He's an actor, damn it. And I'm like, good for you, Jeremy. Like,
doing this thing, for real.
I mean, Kendall Roy for life. Sad boys over here. Like,
oh, fucking Christ. Let's get out of here, Drip. Jesus.
Yeah, because we got to record a show in 7 hours.
So, legit, I got to eat something at some point.
All right, so this has been White Noise, Year 2, Episode 8, I said. So,
yes.
Kyle, where can people find you on social media?
At Cal on Twitter, at Black Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. BlackWrestling.com is the website. And as always, you can find the Black Wrestling Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling. You could be watching this on there. Every Thursday, 8:35 p.m. We are giving you 5 mics, the podcast in excellence. Shouts out to Drip, Fam, Math, and Mimi. We're giving you that and a bunch of other stuff, including a really dope episode of something else featuring Math. If you want to learn anything about Math that you don't learn on BRP or anywhere else, he shows up. That's the place to do
only
it.
With he'll only spread that to Lola and Fam, the true Math, the real Math,
the real Math. Well, because he can't put up a front around them. He knows he got to. He's got to have a conversation at some point. But that was a good conversation. Patreon.com/Black Wrestling, where you're paying the 1 or paying the 10 to get content like this before everybody else gets it. Salute to all the patrons out there. You're the ones that make shows like this happen. But Drip, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip, Instagram, DavisColmDC, Patreon, YouTube, everything that's Black Wrestling related. Twitter, Instagram. Shout out to the interview we just did with Tyrese over at SC Scoops. That should be dropping soon. We're gonna go run back what we did with Steph Hardy. That was awesome. Everything that we've done in the past too. It's on our YouTube, or just go YouTube Black Wrestling, and you'll see where you can find us, because we've been here, there, everywhere.
Shit. Works for me, yo. Works for me. All right.
Until next time. Peace.
All right. Peace.